Coming to you from sunny California and the Great White North. Get ready. We are breaking down the obstacles on the Armchair Ninja Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Armchair Ninja Podcast. It is Thursday, August 15th, 2019. My name is Rich, and joining me to cover the hot garbage episode that is the Baltimore City Finals is Bijan. How you making out?
I'm good. Tell me how you really feel, Rich.
I thought I'd be subtle this time. What did we just watch?
Yeah, it was weird. I remember you were telling me like something was like there. I guess there's a lot of talk online about this episode and everything. I was like, what could it be? And then, yeah, watching it, I gotta say, I didn't think it was hot garbage, but I just thought it was an episode. I didn't really care for it. I was like, is it still going? Man, this episode feels really long.
Yeah, it really kind of dragged on, mainly because, well, actually only because of the one obstacle that nobody could get past. It wasn't so much the talk online. It borderline spoilers, but I appreciated how everyone knows how crazy I am about spoilers. So I just had people reaching out to me and saying, very generally, I want to hear your thoughts on the Baltimore Finals after you see it. The people that had been there and knew what was going to happen. So
yeah,
no indications if it was good, bad, or what. I just knew something was going down, and yeah, it was something. Yeah.
So just going into like, what were your thoughts like overall? Was it really that Angry Birds obstacle that just really got you? Like, is that like? It sounds like that's the main thing, but was there any other like indications why you didn't like it?
No, that pretty much sums it up. I guess like calling it hot garbage was a little tougher than I really mean it to be, because it was okay, but. Yeah, it just kind of wrecked the episode. If we had, all it would have taken would be a couple people to get through it. I mean, it's generally not fun. Even when we think back to some of the epic runs we've seen before with, these crazy ninja killers in this position, right? The Wedge, right? We only had two people beat it, but one of them was Jesse Graff and the other one was Josh Levin, and it kind of made up for it in the end. Yeah, if Allyssa Beird had beaten this obstacle, I probably would have loved this episode.
But it's weird. Like, you don't know unless you're there and on it. And I really I'm curious about feedback from the ninjas that tried it, because just visually there, I don't necessarily think it's a cheap obstacle or anything that a lot of people have criticisms for the Wedge or obstacles like that. I mean, what you need to do for this obstacle, it's there. And I don't, at least for me, I don't consider it cheap or not fair. It's just one of those obstacles that nobody can get through.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is. I mean, there's something off. They're just, you can't have the level of ninjas that we had in this episode attempting an obstacle and failing it for no reason. Like, there's just something we're missing. They had to show a course tester. Like, I might as well jump ahead to that. Like, midway through the episode, they have a course tester that they show completing the obstacle. And as soon as they did that, I was like, no one's beating this obstacle. Like, there's no way. They've never done that I've ever seen.
Seriously, that guy should get a ticket to Vegas. I mean, he's the only one that got through that obstacle. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. But let's get into it here. So other than that obstacle, it actually was a decent course. We had double twister, a perfectly fine obstacle, dangerous curves, which is, pretty good. Hazard cones, which is okay. Crank it up, which is a solid, actually a really good obstacle. Mm-hmm. We didn't get to see Cane Lane, but that's a good obstacle. So, I mean, there's nothing really wrong with the course, and just that one part of Angry, and it's only that one transition on Angry Birds. Like, the rest of it seemed okay.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. Sometimes it's a little too tough. I guess I'm not too angry. Well, I guess not. Whatever. I'm not too upset about it, honestly. Stuff like this happens. I've seen far more egregious examples where something's just like, how is that okay? With this one, it really seems like that transition, just visually looking at it, it looks like that gap really makes ninjas have to lâcher too far forward, and their momentum basically, when they grab onto it, their momentum is pulling them straight off of it. It's a gravitational pull. So you really have to find a very slim margin of error in terms of not overextending your swing and grabbing onto that. And rather than your body propelling forward, it propels downwards at the right time, which very difficult to gauge based on like how far that thing is. So I don't know, man. Tough stuff. I don't think we're gonna see this Angry Birds obstacle in the future, which sucks because honestly, I really like the aesthetic of like it continuously moving with different handholds and stuff. I think that's really creative. But if we do see it again, I really hope they figure out that transition thing because it's not cheap, but I guess at this point it's too hard.
Yeah. Just based on the level of ninja it was taking out, it has to be.
Yeah.
There's got to be some way to scale it back a bit. I wonder, they really kind of have to go up more than out. Like you said, the speed that they're hitting it, the forward momentum that they have is too much. But in order to not have that momentum, you'd kind of have to go up in more of an arc and risk smashing your face into the backside of the obstacle. I wonder if it's that it's so thick, like if it was not such a big hold, if I'm remembering it correctly, they could get closer to it when they make that grab, right? They kind of have to be down underneath it a little further than maybe they want to be. I don't know. It's a little weird.
Hey, man, it could be. It's weird. Just like after being on that show, I know everything is far larger in real life than it looks on the show. So,
right.
So I expect that gap to be bigger in real life, the holds to be bigger, like the whole thing just being like way further away than it looks like when they're like up close. Being like on the show, it kind of looks like, oh man, you could just kind of like swing over and grab both at the same time. Probably not happening in real life.
All right, so let's take a look at some of these runs here. We had Anthony Eardley
before
take
you go
the course.
on, I just got to say for myself,
Sure.
and the reason that I just thought it was there, dude, other than maybe 2, maybe 3 vignettes, I think the stories were a little weak. Like, they weren't awful. There was nothing really egregious or anything, but they're kind of just there. So, like, overall, there was nothing that really grabbed me. That's my criticism.
Yeah, we didn't have those great moments. I mean, I think we had 1 or 2 maybe that were pretty good, but yeah, let's take a look at actually the runs themselves. We can go through some of these like kind of meh stories and what we got.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Eardley, an underwater welder in the past. He actually does his welding above water now. He was adopted at 2 days old. Family of 6 adopted children. It was a pretty nice little story actually to kick it off.
Yeah, it was nice, and I like his delivery. He seems like a really passionate, like, loving guy. It was a nice story.
Yeah. He has a lot of good energy, like I said, good personality, looking very solid through Crank It Up. He's able to beat it, and went out on Angry Birds. What are the odds?
Dude,
they really do seem to like the blind grabs this year. Like, that's actually, I think, the 3rd one we've had.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I mean, I've never done anything like that. I can't imagine it's easy. For me, though, I got to tell you, one of my biggest fears, just in any form of these competitions, are things where there's very little margin for error. A transition type obstacle, it just sucks to fall on those, man, because it's really like it's 50-50. And that's not really fair. I mean, there is skill and technique involved, but you know what I mean. Just like anything can happen in the wrong circumstances.
I mean, that's voice of experience, right? Transition obstacle.
Yeah.
Like, that was what took you out, so.
Yeah, but like not even just that, just in general, like I would far rather go out on an obstacle where I wore myself out, where I know like, man, I just physically couldn't do it anymore. That's far more than just being like, man, just didn't grab it in time or whatever.
It's the most satisfying ones to watch too, right? As the viewers, we always want to see them fight through and reach their physical limit, not just make a small mistake.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like a lot of those ninjas that fought tooth and nail to get to that point, in particular the ones that, you know, didn't basically got timed out, like aren't going to the Vegas finals because like they weren't fast enough. That's gotta be really frustrating.
Yeah. Next on the course, we had Carter Olson, the Crusher. Her dad had a heart attack at 38, started eating healthier, and got his whole family healthy. So, I mean, like, kind of worked out in the end. That's good.
Yeah, I really liked her when she came out. She has, like, this whole, like, cool, crushing, stomping thing. That's dope. I mean, ninjas, take note. That's the kind of stuff that's really unique, and I like that.
Yeah, had a fun energy to it. She was able to beat Dangerous Curves this time. That was nice. She beat the Hazard Cones with a dive. Ended up peeling on the Crank It Up transition. Yeah, good run. But exciting news after that. We had an ad for the ANW Challenge video game that we that we had the honor of covering. For those that didn't hear a couple months ago, we were sent copies of the ANW Challenge game, which was very nice of them. I will actually say that with sincerity. It was nice of them to send us the game to try.
Yeah.
That's the only nice thing we'll say about it, though.
I mean, we low-key skewered that game. But it's not good. I'll just say that. Yeah. How'd you feel about this ad where poor Joe Moravsky and I forget who else was playing it, but they just had to, like, you can totally see them struggling to even figure out how to play the game. And they're like, oh, well, I guess.
I like that they didn't praise it. They just played it and like, yep, fell in the water. I'm going to go train. Yeah, it's like, that's about the size of the closest they would get to it is endorsement from me as well.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, it's a game. Well, yeah. I wouldn't even say it's a game. I mean, it's an unfinished game.
It's a very overpriced mobile game.
Yeah.
Yeah. After that, we had Kevin Liang, who went to Taiwan and met Mr. Taiwan.
Dude, he's the new Mr. Taiwan. Like, Jesus, dude is jacked.
Yeah. I loved his shirt. It says, I flexed so the sleeves fell off. I like it.
Yeah. Creative, funny, man. Great physique. Like, man, I like, the story was interesting. It went a little long, but I can't complain about the story at this point, just because it was one of the more interesting stories this episode. But yeah, a little long. Yeah,
I think that's fair to say. He was looking pretty good through Crank It Up, but ended up falling on that transition. It looks when he went a little too hard, fast, high, something. He just kind of hit it with a little bit too much gusto there.
I guess, man. I mean, yeah. Some of these runs are blending together because it was a whole lot of the same. It was like,
it kind of was.
Can they get to Angry Birds? Okay, well, are they going to get through it? I mean, yeah. And it's weird because we've seen episodes like this before where there are ninja killers, and I feel like I enjoyed those more. So I don't really know what it was about this.
It's that there was nobody. I'm telling you, if there was one or two, it would make a huge difference. We just got nobody. It kills the energy. It kills the vibe.
I guess, man.
We had a fast forward of Anthony DeFranco, who, shocker, went out on Angry Birds. And then we had Clayton Mirage, Shark Boy. I gotta say, it is a little goofy, but dude has a tattoo. Like, it isn't just like a gimmick with him. I gotta say, he's going into marine biology. Mm-hmm. It's more than just a shtick. Like, for
no,
this guy.
The dude's legit. I mean, if you see a picture of him as a little kid kissing a shark, like straight on the mouth, dude ain't just like messing around. Like, he's about sharks. Good for him, man. Live your life.
It kind of like, I don't know. There's something there. I think this is a decent one, right? They've got the crowd wearing little fins on their heads, and they're making little movements of putting their hands up on top of their heads. That's all good. That kind of worked.
It's really his friend in that shark outfit, man. Like, dude, own it. Like, that's what I love to see. Just go all out. That was dope.
Yeah. He managed to beat Crank It Up. He's looking pretty solid. Couldn't manage that transition on Angry Birds, though, unfortunately.
I mean, like, literally, isn't that just every run at this point? Should we just talk about, like, their entrances? Like,
I gotta wonder, like, yeah, we'll just really focus on their stories. That's about all we can do.
Yeah, I really have no analysis for these runs because it's the same story.
It really is. Except the next one, Cara Palillo was fast forwarded. Ninja Babes.
Yeah, she's awesome, man. Like, she's legit at this point, the ninja podcaster. Like,
she ended up going out on Dangerous Curves, unfortunately, which means she will not be moving on to Vegas.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
When we came back, we had Mike the Stallion Salenzi with his Cincinnati buddies on the sidelines with toy horses galloping around.
Yep.
It was something.
Yep.
It's
Moving
an all-star
on.
cast.
I got nothing to say.
We had Swanson, DeGangi, LeBrecq, and McCartney.
I can't even be angry at any of these. I just don't care.
Yeah. I got to say, I had hopes, though. I had some pretty high hopes for this guy just based on his sideline crew and the fact that they kind of gave him some... It kind of looked like they were setting him up from the qualifier that maybe he would be somebody we have to watch for. But he looked exhausted by the salmon ladder, but he managed to finish it. I'm like, I don't see him making it, but I'm rooting for him. Let's see if he can do it. He ended up peeling off just like everybody else, though.
Yeah, man. I mean, for me, I really want to see what Crank It Up is like, because we've seen how difficult it is, and like anytime we see an obstacle, in particular the salmon ladder or whatever that's upper body focus, with the same type of muscle groups that are involved with Crank It Up, the ninjas are completely spent. So, like, those bars have to be, like, super heavy, or the movement is just way more exhausting than I can even picture in my head. But, man, like, every time we have Crank It Up on a course, like, anything after that, the ninjas are absolutely done.
Yeah, I think if you don't use those very gymnastic moves to move it all with your body weight in a couple of swings, you're really, really sapping all your energy out. Next up, we had Angela Gargano, who destroyed her ACL last year, but did great in the qualifiers. She was a very, very top competitor. We were very excited to see what she could do in the finals. Her fans have cat ears on. I don't know why that was the thing, but it was. She was able to beat the dangerous curves again. She had fallen on the hazard cones in qualifying. Just made it off. I actually rewound this multiple times because I could have sworn she hit the water, but I couldn't actually see her do it. That was so close. She did manage to pull herself up though from that save.
Yeah, man, she got 9 lives.
Nice.
You tossed it to me, man. I dunked that one. Dude, I didn't rewind it, so I don't know, but yeah, she got real close. But I mean, that was, hey, in an episode like this, I'll take any form of drama I can get, man. So good on her.
Yeah, that was one of the highlights, really. She came up short on the transition of Crank It Up, unfortunately. Next up, we had a fast forward of Abby Clark, who also went out on Crank It Up. And Julius Ferguson, the Black Jewels. Was very excited to see him. He did a backflip off of the wall to honor Drew, his training partner, who had done that in one of the earlier seasons. I believe it was ANW6. And then went out on Angry Birds with a very fast time, actually.
Yeah, man, Black Jules was awesome. Shout out to Black Jules, by the way, fan of the podcast. Dude was, like, from what we saw of him, it was a very entertaining run. He seems like he's brimming with personality. This would have been one of the runs that I would have liked to see. And I know we at least got some extended highlights and everything. I'm really glad at least we saw that. But I felt like, hey, it's the fastest run of the night so far, so you know it's got good pacing. And he's doing backflip, and he's close to Drew Dreshel, so you get your Drew Dreshel time in, you know. I felt like this is just one of those runs that could have done well with us seeing it. I don't know. When the bar is low on an episode, I'm like, man, damn, I would have liked to see this.
Like you said, extended fast forward. They kind of gave a few little clips there. I guess they got everything they needed, and they just moved on. But when we had Joe Moravsky take the course, the hope of the episode takes the course midway, and it's like, okay, this is really going to sell it for me. If Joe does it, then I know it's going to be a decent episode. If he doesn't, I'm really worried about the rest of it. Yeah.
But in terms of placement, I'm not too worried about it, because the halfway point, basically, he's starting the next hour, which in TV terms is what you want. You want at the beginning of every single hour and the end of the entire thing to have big high points. So basically, Joe is like the next star to get everybody that's switching channels, if people actually watch TV live nowadays still, to keep an eye on.
Yeah, it didn't signal anything other than Joe's a star. It's a good spot to have him in. Mm-hmm. Especially if he manages to beat it, right? It keeps we've had a lot of failures. He'll re-energize everybody to keep watching.
Yeah. Did you think he was going to get it?
No. Actually, I was holding my breath and was very, very nervous this whole run because, as I said, I was clued in that something big was happening this episode, and now it was Joe's run was a turning point for me. It was really, if he doesn't get it, the reason they wanted me to see it was because everybody fails this damn thing.
Gotcha.
And if he falls early, then that's why. It's because the shocker of Joe falling stupidly somewhere.
Yeah, I low-key kind of had those thoughts also. But for me, I felt like Joe has a really good chance of doing it. Because once again, visually, for me at the very least, I was like, this isn't a cheap obstacle from what I'm seeing. People just aren't getting it. And I felt like Joe could, if there's anybody that can figure out an obstacle, I feel like Joe and Drew are the two that can figure out an obstacle. But, man, that's a tricky one. Who knows? I was not there. It could be a million things. But, he took it well, though. I feel like Joe is at least mentally in a good state of mind because I remember last year he was really upset. For failing. I forget if it was a Mega Wall or whatever else. He was really upset. I'm glad that he can, fall at something and still keep his head up, just move on to the next one.
Yeah, there wasn't much to do about this one, I think. I guess the other point of that being, Joe is the most consistent ninja there is. Like, I think I'd even put him above Drew as far as that goes. Like, Joe just stage 3 year after year. If he doesn't do it, like, who's gonna? Like, there's just really nobody else that I would have faith in doing unless someone just comes out of left field.
No, 100%. And they said some crazy stat that, like, Joe has hit the buzzer, like the city's finals course buzzer, like every year but one or something like that. And I was like, what? The city finals course traditionally is like one of the hardest things you can ever do in the whole sport. Like, that's insane that Joe has a stat like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can't.
And even the year he didn't. So the year he didn't was also in Baltimore. It was the year that I went, ANW8. And he made it to the final obstacle. He just couldn't make it up the invisible ladder, which was notoriously difficult. Or elevator climb, whatever one it was that year. It was bad. But yeah, he is ridiculously consistent, especially in Vegas. Like, he had a bad fall last year, but that's like so far out of character for him.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to it here. We had Lucas Reale, mentored by Dave Cavanagh, and I was blown away. So I was kind of like half into the story at first, and then he says that his first day at the Ninja Gym was the day that his dad committed suicide. I thought, oh, what a horrible tragedy that happened while he was there, or just later that day. No, he went there to take his mind off it. When they said that, I was just like, wow, like the same day that happens, he has to go do something, and he goes to a Ninja Gym, and then that becomes his thing.
Yeah. I mean, 100% the highlight of the episode. I mean, is there anything even close, Rich? I mean,
no, not really.
It's real stuff. It was really emotional, but I like the fact I was getting worried because they're starting to go a little too hard on like a real tragedy. I'm like, come on, guys, don't milk it. But then they really had this nice, inspiring story about him really connecting with Cavanagh and his wife and really embracing just training the sport and finding like a new family in the Cavanaghs. And I thought it was absolutely beautiful. It was the Cavanaghs, right? I'm not misspoke.
Yeah, you got it right.
And I like the fact that they highlighted the Cavanaghs and just the whole thing about it was so uplifting, inspiring, such good vibes and everything like that. I really, really enjoyed this. Visually profound video of the night, easily. And yeah, I not only that though, it perfectly merged into Reale's run, which I felt was really, really fun. I guess he just kept, I don't know what it was about him because it was like all the other runs, but maybe it was coming from that video because when a really good video happens, you really are rooting for the person. But I was just really excited for this kid and really wishing him the best. And he really excelled at it. So Reale, you get the visual or the athletically profound run of the night also. because that was dope. I really don't have much to say in terms of specifics for the runs because, I mean, once again, guys, it's the same thing as every run on this episode. But,
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
I
his was
really
a little
liked
different. No, we gotta be clear. He actually at least gave us some variety. I was very thankful for that. So for one, they showed the clock by cranking it up. It's like, well, that's the first time they've done that. That pretty much tells me he's gonna get the fastest time, which he did. He was able to get to Angry Birds faster than Black Jewels, and he tried to skip that blind grab and go for the next hold. I was like, thank you. Try something new, please, for the love of God. Do something different. Try a long dismount. Skip the whole thing. I don't care. Just please stop grabbing for that thing. I can't watch one more person fall in it.
Dude, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's 100% one of the things that really put over the edge is he tried something like new. And yeah, it didn't work out, but man, I mean, please, more people do that because clearly that one transition was not working. He went for something new and he almost got it. Like he got one hand on it, if I remember correctly. Like, go for broke, y'all. Try something new.
We also, after him, we had a fast forward of Chris Wilczewski, who went out on Angry Birds. And then this is where we got the demo from the course tester. And I'm like, I put my nose. I take that as a very bad sign. I've never seen that before.
Yeah. I low-key like the fact that they did it, though. Being like, guys, seriously, we tested this. Like, people, we've seen somebody do it.
I do. It did feel kind of defensive, like, guys, we're not that incompetent. We did have people test this course, and they were able to complete it.
Yeah, once again, that, I mean, really, if you're that tester, you gotta feel so good about yourself right now. Like,
yeah, what could it be? That's still mind-blowing.
I mean, it could be a combination. I mean, this is a pretty upper body intensive course. We've seen people, even at the Salmon Lab before, struggling. I mean, yeah, but I see that, right? But then the obstacle that they're failing at really isn't about you completely being drained out. It's more about your grip strength. But, I mean, maybe that plays a part.
All right, so the last hopes coming down the line we had was Allyssa Beird. She's the last woman running, and she was not fast enough to crank it up to qualify.
That was scaring me.
I really, really did not give her the credit. I don't know why. I think I was just beaten down by this episode at this point. I thought, oh, wow, Allyssa Beird's not going to qualify. This sucks. But she was able to do it. I was like, the highlight of the episode for me, I was so excited for her. Second woman ever to manage to beat Crank It Up. I don't know why I doubted her. And then I got hyped, right? So it was like, I had no hope in her. Then I had all the hope in the world. I was like, if Allyssa Beird can take this down, that's why this is the episode. This is why they want me to see it. Allyssa Beird's going to do it. She's going to have her Jesse Graff beat them all moment and just blow the whole thing off, lid off this thing. And then she fell in the same transition.
Yeah, but man, she got pretty dang far. Like, props to her. I can't imagine how difficult it is for any of the competitors to get through Crank It Up. And I didn't know that Maggie Thorne was the only one to do it. Once again, Maggie, man. Low key, super awesome. I love Maggie Thorne to death. But Allyssa Beird really showing just how strong and amazing she is. I mean, really, everybody knows how awesome Allyssa Beird is, but just another thing in her resume, and I'm really happy for her. Yeah, I mean, I guess I really have nothing else to say, but it was a really strong highlight of the episode also.
After her, we had Jamie Rahn, who they immediately started calling out the fact that he was not moving very fast, which was not a good sign.
Dude, I was worried. I'm like, bro, like, come on. I mean, it's one of those things. You don't know the time, I can imagine. But it just sucked to see as a viewer, like, oh, he's like relaxing at the worst time imaginable, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't buy much into that. Like, you don't know when he ran. Could have ran early in the night. You have no idea what he was looking at.
Yo, that's a good point also, yeah.
The only thing that really kind of makes me think that maybe that was a little more blatant is they actually call it on the sidelines, right? Zuri comes over and says, oh, by the way, that wasn't fast enough.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the first times we've seen somebody getting broken the bad news from
Yeah.
the sideline reporter.
I don't know if I like it. I don't think that was good.
I don't know. It was something new. Zuri at least was like nice or whatever about it. Like I didn't think it was bad. In other circumstances, it could have been far worse. But with her, I liked the delivery. It was fine, I guess.
It was nothing against her. The episode was already a downer. I didn't need that. That was just an extra kick to the stomach, I think.
It's like I can only take so much, right?
Yeah. Please, good news. Please, good news only from this point forward. And then we had Najee Richardson take the course, who is so much fun to watch from the course, at least. And I had a nice segment for him after all the trouble that he had with his asthma in the water balls, I believe it was called. It kind of got him a lot of attention, and he ends up becoming an ambassador for the American Lung Association. That's like, what a nice, unexpected surprise to come out of something that could be seen as bad.
Yeah, I mean, good for him. That's some real stuff. A lot of people live with it. I have asthma, and I have had asthma attacks during competitions or whatever, and it's not fun.
So watching him run the course is always a treat. He's just so fluid, great showmanship, great personality. It just kind of exudes everything he does. Crushing the course, crank it up. A couple big swings, he just takes the whole thing down. Missed being in first place by 0.02 seconds.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So close to going to the power tower. It was 0.02 seconds difference between him and Lucas Reale.
That is the worst, bro. Oh, man. Yeah. I would have liked to see Najee, what he can do on that power tower. But, I mean, I'm cool with the two finalists on the power tower. For Najee, he's still making it going to Vegas finals. This is one of those courses where I feel like a lot of the competitors are just like, I'm over it mentally. I just want to get to Vegas.
Yeah, I think so. So that left one runner. And at first, I was annoyed. I'm like, well, why would you save Dave Cavanagh to the end? Like, are we really thinking that he's... And I'd forgotten about the speed pass. That thing is a lifesaver. I think always show them last, because then it really is up in the air. It's like, okay, so they have to show him last. He could make it. He could not make it. You really have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah, and also, just for me, I'm really happy Dave Cavanagh really, in a way, gets like 2 segments this episode. It was his episode, and both segments were, I mean, well, I could live without seeing him in a bus or whatever it is, van, blah blah blah. But I'm just happy somebody so dedicated to the sport gets like some airtime.
Yeah, a guy that's king of the walk-ons, the guy that had to couldn't get a call to save his life for all the years, and then when they get rid of the walk-on line, gets the call and kind of pulls out the big victory from it. I love it. It's really great for him.
Yeah, I mean, this is his year.
I kind of like the van segment. I was like, I'd love to simplify life down to that. It would be so wonderful to get rid of so much stuff and just live simply.
Yeah, it must be nice. I'm full-time grad student and full-time worker, and sleep, I don't know it. And I'm just look at this, I'm like, why do I suffer? I can live such a more simpler, carefree life. It would be so much nicer.
He almost missed the transition on Crank It Up, though. Like, what the heck was going on there? And I was getting so annoyed that they didn't have the clock up. The whole point of his run is, can he make the power tower? That clock should have been up the second he took the course. It was so annoying me. They didn't show it until the bottom of the salmon ladder when he's got 20 seconds to beat your time. Like, why? They're so weird this year. They used to show the clock all the time, and it was kind of annoying in the way they would do it. But this year, the time really matters. It has such a crucial component to it, and they never show it now.
I mean, that's good criticism.
He does manage to get there in time, bumps Najee from second place, takes first place, but he wasn't able to complete the thing either. So that meant that he would be running against his student, against Lucas Reale in the final, which was kind of a, like you said, I think you said earlier in this podcast that it was a nice way to wrap it all up.
Yeah, it's nice and poetic, and I'm absolutely cool with it. I really like it when the two finalists have some form of relationship. You know, I like the Daniel Gill, Matisse competition and stuff like that.
Yeah, like how great would it have been to have seen Kyle Soderman versus Hunter Gerard? That would have been a cool race.
Yeah, that would have been awesome, man. And there's I'm sure tons of examples. It would have been great. I want to see Jesse versus Jesse. That's that's the one I want to see. I don't even know if they're in the same what do you call it, like region, but that would have been
not,
cool.
But yeah, so Ladies of the Power Tower, the mediocre version of the Power Tower that we get in the finals, but it's Power Tower nonetheless.
Rich is savage this week.
God, I feel like I was. This is probably the episode that I ripped on for the qualifiers too. I feel like it was. But yeah, it was a decent race. Cavanagh got ahead, stayed there. Lucas missed a couple of holds, and Dave brings home the win.
Yeah, it was a run. I have no. Yeah.
See, you're no better. You're nothing good to say about it either.
I just don't have a strong opinion. I feel bad. I'm not angry. I'm not happy. I'm just like, it was an episode. I was kind of glazed over this whole time. Like, something happened that gets me interested, y'all.
So that was it. The only one that was skipped that really stood out to me that we didn't see at all was Zach Day, who, shockingly enough, went out on Angry Birds. And yeah, so I think the most exciting thing that we got in this episode might have been the fact that they clued us into the fact that we are 2 weeks away from Vegas.
Yeah, that's exciting, and more so 4 episodes of the Vegas finals. I am so psyched for that. That is going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. We will be here covering it, but first, next week we'll be covering the Cincinnati finals as our final cities course.
Hey, who are the big people in Cincinnati? Like, who do we got to look forward to? Do you remember?
Cincinnati has Ethan Swanson.
Gotcha.
Jesse LeBrecq. A few of the bigger names, yeah.
Okay.
I think they say Grant McCartney's there, too.
All right. Should be a fun episode. I mean, I would have said the same for this, but, I mean, I'm optimistic that, like, every single season we have one of those episodes where this kind of stuff just happens, and we have to just get through it. I'm optimistic. It's all uphill from here.
That's right. Yeah, I have faith too. I'm sure it'll be good. And I'm really excited for Vegas this year. I think it's going to be fantastic. 4 episodes.
Yeah.
Have these safety passes in place. I think it's all going to be good.
Oh, yeah, the safety pass. Dude, I think that's really going to play a major portion, in particular in Stage 2. I'm psyched for that.
Before we wrap up this episode, do we have any 5-star reviews?
Oh, snap, man. Let's take a look. Yes, we do. We have a 5-star review from Nature Ninja Warrior saying, "You're awesome. Favorite podcast. Frequently updated ninja episodes. Let me try that again.
Killing it.
Frequently updated ninja epicness. Keep going strong." Well, thank you so much, Nature Ninja Warrior. I mean, I feel like there's a story there. You know, nature conservation, just all that stuff. Be good to the environment, y'all. Recycle, all that good stuff. But most importantly, Nature Ninja Warrior, thank you so much for the 5-star review. You are the best. And you get the 5-star review of the week. Awesomeness. Highlight of the week.
Yes. That was my favorite part of this week's episode. Thank you so much, Nature Ninja Warrior. If you'd like to get your shout out from Bijan, make sure you go on to Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star review, and you'll get your very own shout out on our podcast.
Yes.
And if you'd like to reach out to us, you can reach me as rich@ninjapodcast.com. I am at Ninja Podcast on both Instagram and Twitter. And Bijan, how can they reach you?
Yes, you can find me over at the College Rolando Branch Library in San Diego because I am the brand new promoted youth services librarian over there. So woo to that. Yay.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And yeah, hit me up at Twitter and Instagram at Bijan151. That is Bijan 151.
Okay, thank you all so much for listening, and I hope you have a bird-free week.
He tried. Peace, love, and deuces, y'all.